TGI Fridays began with a simple idea in 1965 in Manhattan, New York City. Founder Alan Stillman opened a bar where young professionals, including airline stewardesses and models in his neighborhood, could meet in a relaxed setting. He called it, "Thank God It's Friday." The formula of casual drinks, American food, and a high-energy vibe took off. Over the next decades, the brand helped create what the industry calls the casual bar and grill segment, mixing a bar scene with sit-down meals. By 2014, according to Nation's Restaurant News, TGI Fridays had more than 900 locations worldwide when it was sold to Tri-Artisan Capital and Sentinel Partners. The brand spread across more than 35 countries. As of early 2026, Wikipedia reports that TGI Fridays still has more than 380 locations worldwide, including 79 in the United States. In the United Kingdom, the first Fridays restaurant opened in 1986. The brand spent years as a familiar sight in city centres and retail parks. Families went for birthday Sundays. Workers hit happy hour. Yet by mid-2020s, that picture had changed sharply. The big question now is why so many TGI Fridays restaurants in the UK have closed, and what the company's leadership says is the real reason. To understand that, we need to trace how the UK business changed hands and ran into trouble. The Guardian reported that TGI Fridays UK operations went through several ownership changes and more than one round of administration. Administration is a UK insolvency process used to protect a company from creditors while a restructuring or sale is arranged. Hostmore plc became the manager and owner of the UK TGI Fridays operations in 2021 after being spun out as the franchisee. By mid-September 2024, The Guardian reported that Hostmore had entered administration. At that moment, all 87 UK TGI Fridays restaurants and around 4,500 jobs sat at risk. On the 7th of October 2024, a rescue deal arrived. The Financial Times reported that private equity firms Brielle Capital and Calverton UK agreed to buy 51 of those 87 sites through an administration process managed by advisory firm Teneo. 35 restaurants closed immediately. Roughly 1,012 jobs were cut, while about 2,400 jobs were saved. ITV News quoted UK Chief Executive Julie McEwen saying the company was devastated for colleagues who would be leaving and thanked them for their loyalty. She also said this marked the start of a positive future after a very challenging period for casual dining. Not everyone agreed it felt positive. Unite Hospitality, the workers' union, told The Guardian and Retail Wire that some staff were locked out of sites with no warning, were not told clearly if they would be paid, and felt ignored in the process. Under Brielle and Calverton, the renewed owners said the brand had lost its way over circa 7 years. They tried to restart it. On the 4th of July 2025, they staged a national relaunch. The caterer and Regency Purchasing reported that this relaunch, timed to match US Independence Day, brought a refreshed menu and new branding meant to revive an authentic and fun American experience and tap into nostalgia. During mid-2025, Restaurant Online and The Caterer reported that the new owners were seeing positive numbers. Like-for-like sales growth, customer covers up by as much as 10%, and higher scores on dishes and guest satisfaction. Festive bookings were reported to be up by 25% year-on-year. On the surface, it looked like a comeback. Yet only a few months later, another shift came. On the 31st of October 2025, Sky News reported that Sugarloaf TGIF management, led by former global TGI Fridays chief executive Ray Blanchette, acquired the UK business from Brielle and Calverton. The deal included around 49 restaurants and just over 2,000 employees. Sugarloaf TGIF management sits within Blanchette's broader restaurant investment interests. He has a long history with the brand. His career with TGI Fridays began in 1989. He later became chief executive of the global company in October 2018, stepped down in May 2023, and then returned as worldwide chief executive on the 1st of January 2025. On that same date, Wikipedia notes that his Sugarloaf Hospitality Group was chosen to manage all TGI Fridays franchised restaurants around the world. Right after acquiring the UK business, Blanchette's team did something that caught attention. Restaurant Online and The Caterer reported that within weeks of the October 2025 deal, Sugarloaf hired restructuring specialists Interpath Advisory to explore strategic options for the UK estate. That included the possibility of a sale or a broader restructuring. Those warnings turned into reality in December 2025. Liberty Bar and Restaurant Group, the holding company for TGI Fridays UK under Sugarloaf, filed notice of intent to appoint administrators. This legal step gave the business 10 days of protection against creditors. Several such notices were filed over the month, signaling deep financial pressure. On the 13th of January 2026, according to The Independent, Liberty Bar and Restaurant Group went into what is known as a pre-pack administration, with Interpath Advisory's Ryan Grant and Will Wright as joint administrators. A pre-pack administration means the sale of the business and its assets is arranged in advance and completed immediately when administrators are appointed. In this case, the buyer was Sugarloaf TGIF Operations Limited, another Sugarloaf entity. The impact was sharp. 16 restaurants were not included in the sale and closed immediately. The Independent reported that 456 jobs were lost. 33 sites were saved and kept trading, with 1,384 workers transferred into the new company. As of February 2026, The Independent states that these 33 UK locations remain under Sugarloaf TGIF operations. Many casual observers say the economy is to blame. Industry groups add detail. The Guardian has highlighted the pressure on hospitality from rising labour costs, higher energy bills, supply chain inflation, and increased taxes, including national insurance. UK Hospitality, the trade body, has warned that government policies on business rates and other costs could drive more closures through 2026. These are real factors. Yet Blanchette and other leaders say they do not tell the whole story. In an interview with FSR magazine about the brand's broader turnaround, Ray Blanchette gave a pointed answer on what went wrong under previous owners. He said, "We know that we've got to address the value equation. Previous ownership got very aggressive with pricing and priced themselves out of the middle market where we compete. And so we're going to address value, we're going to address quality." He also said that some products are not to the TGI Fridays standard and claimed that if Sugarloaf hadn't intervened, all of the units would have shut down. The mainstream view among many customers and commentators is that chains like TGI Fridays fell mainly because of outside forces, the cost of living crisis, high rents, and diners cutting back on nights out. The Guardian reports that reduced discretionary spending has made people visit restaurants less often or trade down to cheaper options. Blanchette does not deny those pressures, but he argues that internal decisions on pricing and quality turned a tough situation into a crisis. The phrase value equation is industry jargon that means the balance between what you pay and what you feel you get. FSR magazine's report shows his belief that earlier UK owners pushed prices up too far while letting food and experience standards slip. In simple terms, customers paid more and enjoyed it less. This view matches what many guests have said informally over the past few years, that Fridays no longer felt like a good deal. The difference is that Blanchette puts a number on it. He talks about the middle market where TGI Fridays aims to compete. Not cheap fast food, not high-end dining, but something in the middle. He says the UK business priced itself out of that space. Some critics, including unions and some analysts quoted by The Guardian and K2 Partners commentary, push a different angle. They argue that repeated private equity ownership and debt loads led to underinvestment in restaurants, staff, and the brand. In their view, constant cost-cutting and frequent changes in strategy weakened the chain long before inflation spiked. Leadership partly agrees on underinvestment. Blanchette told FSR magazine that previous owners mismanaged operations and didn't invest capital. So we have two connected causes. First, bad fit between prices and perceived quality. Second, years of underinvestment and unstable ownership that left the brand weaker when external costs surged. The January 2026 pre-pack deal shows how management chose to respond. Rather than keep all 49 sites open, Sugarloaf and the administrators closed 16 outright and focused on 33 they believed could survive. The Independent quotes Interpath's Ryan Grant saying that, despite the difficult job losses, this step marks a pivotal step in TGI Fridays' wider turnaround plan, putting in place stable foundations upon which it can begin to move forward. Global President Phil Broad said they had explored all available options and believed this outcome best preserved jobs and gave a strong platform for success and growth. He also said he believed the UK brand was now in strong hands, focused on reinvigorating Fridays while keeping its bold flavours and high-energy experience. Those words describe a bet. The bet is that a smaller, leaner TGI Fridays UK, run closely by Sugarloaf, can reset prices, raise quality, and reconnect with the middle market guest. Blanchette's public comments about addressing value imply menu rework, cost control, and operational upgrades, though specific store-level plans have not been fully detailed in public reports. The common belief is that chains are victims of the economy alone. The evidence from TGI Fridays UK suggests a more direct explanation from the top. Aggressive pricing that pushed the brand above what its food and experience justified, combined with underinvestment and rising costs, made some locations simply non-viable. Administration and closures were then used as tools to cut loose loss-making restaurants and debt. As of February 2026, 33 UK sites remain, 456 jobs have been lost in the latest wave, and more than 1,380 workers continue under new ownership. The Guardian and The Caterer report that analysts still see an overwhelming weakness in the brand and expect further closures if the turnaround fails. The real test of Blanchette's reasoning will come over the next few years. If his focus on value and quality brings back enough guests to those 33 remaining restaurants, his claim that mispricing and mismanagement were the core problem will look accurate. If not, then critics who blame the business model and years of financial engineering will say the UK story of TGI Fridays was already written long before Sugarloaf arrived. For now, the official story from the chief executive is clear. TGI Fridays is not closing UK restaurants because people no longer like burgers, ribs and cocktails. It is closing because, in his words, it priced itself out of the middle market, let standards slip, and then had to use a pre-pack administration in January 2026 to save what he believes can still be turned around.